If I seem kind of frazzled, it's because I have an hour to film this and the dog just pooped on the carpet, so that's how my day is going so far. Today we're going to be looking at things that I would actually buy at IKEA as a designer. Quick disclaimer though, I did not look through every single product in the IKEA catalog because that probably would have taken me about a week to get through. I've seen a bunch of other videos where designers go through IKEA and tell you what they would actually buy, and it's usually just a bunch of like organization stuff and a bunch of like random things that you use in your home, but they're not necessarily intended to look good. So today I want to give you a bit of a resource for things that are actually meant to be design forward and look pretty that I would actually put into my own home. If you're new here, my name is Medora Kia. I use they, them pronouns, and I make videos about home design for girls, gays, and theys. So let's get into it. Oh, and also another disclaimer real quick. We all know mass manufactured shit isn't usually ideal for the workers and the planet, and also the world that we've grown up with is unraveling currently. So in this economy, who can afford custom artisan home goods? Not me. If you can, I don't know what you're doing watching this video instead of heading directly over to my Patreon. Awkward wink. In all seriousness, not so subtle plug aside, obviously IKEA isn't the best company for the planet, but they do also have some sustainability initiatives, and also we're all just scraping by out here. So I thought this video might be helpful. Now that we've gotten the disclaimers out of the way, let's actually get into it. Starting off strong, we've got this giant floor lamp. This thing is massive. I want to actually go to, Cooper.plants on YouTube. Just put out a video recently. I think I already had this video in the works, but I definitely stole some ideas directly from his video. Where you can see that lamp in the background there, but I want a better shot of it.
Or industrial kind of swing arms.
There. I really love this lamp in his space in particular, and I also really love how he's angled it like a little bit more downward. It's definitely a massive light, but if you're looking for something that'll be a statement without being too like weird and out there, this is perfect for that. I need to talk less because I have so many things here. Okay, chrome desk lamp. Voila. He also had these. I should have kept that video up to show you. He has these as bedside lamps, and they look really good. Here's a better picture where I think it looks a little bit better than this first photo. If you've got space for an island, this one is perfect. It has drawers, it has shelves, it has airflow, it has hooks. It's got that combination of stainless steel and wood that I really love. Or actually, I think this one's technically bamboo, not wood, but the warmth from the wood or the bamboo mixed with the industrial, commercial, easy to clean qualities of the stainless steel, which you'll know how much I love if you watched my last video. If you have a boring kitchen, this is a perfect way to bring in a couple extra textures and colors and key materials in a way that will really make a huge impact on the space. This is part of their new Stockholm 2025 collection, and I do have many things from that collection in this list. I think they did a really good job with this collection, which is exciting to see because, not gonna lie, sometimes IKEA really misses the mark, especially with like colors and patterns and even just with like shapes and proportions. Like sometimes their things are so close, but there's just like, if I could tweak a couple little things about it, it would be perfect. And I know they're working within like all sorts of constraints, especially with shipping and flat packing stuff, but a lot of the times I feel like they could do just like a little bit better and everything would be so much better. But yeah, with this Stockholm 2025 collection, and it's all just called Stockholm 2025, even though there's a ton of different random stuff in here. So I don't know necessarily why they named it that. I guess because it's easy to remember and it's a good collection. So if you like the collection, you just look that up and you see everything from the collection. I don't know. I'm not in the meeting room at IKEA where they decide the names for these things. But anyways, this couch comes in a bunch of different colors. I'm not mad at the blue. I really don't like the grayish white color or the beige, but I really love this dark brown color. A lot of times dark browns are a little bit too chocolatey, or they're not quite dark enough, or they're not gray enough, and I feel like this is a really good brown. It's dark enough and chunky enough that it feels really grounding, and I could genuinely see this styled in some Architectural Digest shoot, because I think this is one of the few pieces that looks way more high-end than it actually is. This is a timeless one. I won't spend too much time on this, but yeah, just a normal slipcover sofa. This is a classic IKEA couch that doesn't necessarily scream IKEA. The slip-covered look is very timeless, and it would fit beautifully in just about any space. Another couch This one's a little bit more of an investment, but it's also so much bigger. This is a corduroy green couch, and I love it specifically in this giant sectional version. I love the boxy arms, I love the green, I love the corduroy, and I have seen one designer who did actually put this in their home, although I have no idea who it was because I saw this like at least a year or two ago. I also really love that it has storage. I was gonna say if you live in a small space, you definitely need extra storage, but this sectional is not going in a small space, although they do have smaller versions of it. They do also have a gray and a beige, but those ones are just so bleh. Like if that fits into your design, I guess, but like the green is just so good. Okay, this one, if you can find one of these on like Facebook Marketplace or something, I love the shape of these. They're super classic, super timeless. I love how it's boxy, but it's not quite as chunky as the last one. It's a little bit lighter feeling, and it does. I hate that one. But it does come in a bunch of other colors, just like boring type of colors. But what I would love this for is if you found a really cool fabric, like a plaid or a stripe or something funky like that, this would be a fantastic one to do a DIY reupholster kind of thing. Or if you find it for cheap or free on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, get it reupholstered, and this could be a beautiful couch. When I'm sourcing couches secondhand, I'm always looking at the shape of the couch rather than the fabric, because it's a lot harder to change the shape of a couch than it is to change the fabric. This is one of those designs that feels so classic and so timeless. It does not scream IKEA to me at all. It's just a well-designed, well-proportioned chair. I love that it's chrome. I love that the fabric is a normal canvas kind of color. It's just a beautifully designed chair, and I've heard that it's comfortable to sit in, although I have not sat in it myself yet. It does, however, look more like lounge chair dimensions rather than dining chair dimensions, because the height of the seat is 16 inches, which is a relatively normal seat height, but that's at the top and then it angles back. Like it angles down. So where your butt is going is much lower than 16 inches. So if you need like a couple of matching lounge chairs in your living room, but you also need to be able to put them away to do exercises or yoga or something, these would be perfect for that. This red accent chair, I feel like this would be perfect in a bedroom, specifically as the chair like for your clothes that aren't quite dirty enough to put in the laundry, but aren't clean enough to hang back up. And it's also a really good solid size for a pop of red, because if you've been here for any amount of time, you'll know my opinions about a pop of red. It needs to be a good medium-sized object. It can't be like a tiny little knickknack on a shelf. It can't be a whole entire wall. It needs to be something medium-sized, like a chair or a coffee table or something like that. I included this one in here just because it doesn't scream IKEA at all to me. It looks much more like a vintage antique kind of situation. I assume you're supposed to put a cushion on it, but I don't know that it comes with cushions. I don't know what's happening with this, but I feel like I haven't seen it before, so I wanted to include it. This is another one like that folding lounge chair that is just such a good, simple design. The one thing I don't love about this is all of the rivets on the sides here that you can see, but if you like stain or paint the wood, or even if you just get these little wood colored stickers to like put over screw holes and stuff, that would cover those up nicely. Again, I love the canvas material. I love just like the simple wood frame. This reminds me of those vintage leather chairs that they put out at one point. Well, it's basically that chair, but like not quite as good. These ones have like some leather straps in there, which would be a little bit nicer. And they've also got a little bit of a curve to this armrest. This would also be a really neat one to do some sort of DIY with, whether you reupholster it, which would be super easy. You just take this fabric off, trace it onto your new fabric. It doesn't take a lot of fabric. And then you could also stain or paint the frame, which I love because it feels like there are so many options for what you could do with this and like how you could customize it. This is another part of the Stockholm 2025 collection. It's simple, it's classic. Even though it is pretty Scandinavian, it doesn't immediately scream IKEA. And this feels like one of those ones where they got all of the proportions and the colors and everything right. These curtains are a 100% cotton velvet, and I feel like it's so hard to find a velvet that isn't polyester these days. So I like these for that reason. They've got a bunch of different colors. I've used the dark blue before, and they do genuinely feel really nice. Although if you need something a little bit more custom, I would definitely recommend 2Pages, and not just because I have an affiliate code with them. They're better quality, they're much more customizable, both in terms of the size and the colors, but also in terms of what type of pleat you want across the top, and you don't have to iron them. So if you're in the market for new curtains, it really does help a lot if you use the link and the code that I have down in the description. I've got it in the description of all of my videos, but I'll put it near the top just for this one. Curtain track. Not going to go in depth on this, but curtain tracks. This is my favorite rug at IKEA at the moment. I really am not a big fan of their rugs usually. I'm not a big fan of any of their patterned things for the most part because their patterns just, they always feel a bit off to me. A lot of times I feel like they stopped designing the pattern halfway through designing the pattern and then they were just like, yeah, that's good enough. But this one, I love this so much. This is unfortunately on a flat woven rug, but I would love to see this pattern on a medium to high pile rug, especially a wool rug. That would make me very happy. Let's see, what material is this? Materials and care. This is 100% wool, so that's good because wool is resistant to stains and bacteria and all of that. So I'm so happy to see them using wool for this. But yeah, this is just one of those designs that it's, again, definitely a statement rug. I feel like IKEA should maybe come out with some not quite as statementy rugs. People might actually buy their rugs a little bit more often if they didn't have all sorts of like funky colors and patterns, and if they just had some like nice, simple, beautiful colored rugs like Arvin Alano's rugs. I would not recommend this one in a living room specifically because it is a flat weave, but if you're open to a rug in a dining room, because it's a flat weave, it'll be easier to clean. This would be fantastic in a dining room. And then the only other rugs I like are these like tiny little doormat ones. This one's not quite as small. This one's 2.5 by 5 feet, but it's definitely, you know, entryway rug type of vibes. And then there's a striped doormat. I actually really like this black green combo. It's like a really weird color combination for IKEA. It's kind of moody. I love the bold stripe. If you've got a more colorful space, you could do that one. Yeah, this one is such an unexpected moment for IKEA, which I appreciate. And then there's this one, which I'm not mad at. If you like a check or a grid pattern, that one is perfectly fine. Wool rug. Oh yeah, I found this one, which is weirdly expensive for IKEA, but it is also weirdly beautiful for IKEA. IKEA doesn't usually have anything that's quite this ornate and traditional and beautiful and like actually well made. It is kind of expensive for only like a 5 by 7 or 5.5 by 8 rug. So I definitely just recommend going on Etsy instead because you can find so many more vintage rugs for much better prices than this. Although I will say a lot of those are flat weaves or very, very low pile. And this one does actually have a pile. So it will be like relatively soft and fluffy compared to some of these vintage Etsy ones. I've always wanted to use these as like a nightstand. I feel like they would be great, especially because of the wall mount. It's just a floating nightstand. Perfect in a small space, so you don't have like legs cluttering everything up. It's just a couple of drawers. You could also mount this to the wall and then like in a corner, mount like a little bracket thingy, put a countertop across the whole thing, and have a desk. It would look super built in, super custom, and this is giving me ideas. A slipcover bed, not that I necessarily recommend an upholstered bed at all, but if you're gonna do an upholstered bed, this simple classic slip-covered one is good. I assume you can take off the slipcover and wash it because it's IKEA. Yeah, there we go. You can take it off and wash it. So yeah, if you are going to do a fabric bed, I would recommend this one probably. Simple, classic, goes with a lot of different design styles, and it's washable, which most are not, which is definitely a huge oversight and flaw in the design of upholstered beds, in my opinion, because trust me, it will start to look gross. This one is fine. I found this in a cobalt blue, like color of my shirt, and I used it in my subscriber makeover video, which I really love as a little pop of color. But this black one works just as well too. I think they also have a yellow one. Yeah, which I am not a fan of. This is going to be oddly specific, but I really don't like most of the yellow colors that IKEA uses. There's just something about their yellows that they get horribly wrong most of the time. And I don't know what it is, why they can't come up with a good yellow color, but this is one of those examples that I am not a fan of. This nightstand is one of those things that feels much more high-end than it actually is. It is just an oak veneer, it's not solid oak, but I would say it looks really nice, especially for the price. I do think it's like a little modern and trendy with the round legs and the rounded corners. It also comes in a brown, which is fine, although this collection, Tonstad, I feel like their brown stain looks really weird in photos, and I don't know what it is about this collection in particular, because I usually like a darker stain better. I'm usually not on the like very light oak bandwagon because it feels just a little too contemporary and basic, but I do actually like this in the lighter oak color, so I don't know. Outdoor side table, pretty simple, pretty basic. I do not like this as a nightstand, but yeah, as like a cute little outdoor thing. And it does come in green if you're needing like a weird little pop of color. Although I kind of just like it in the classic black because the legs are already such a weird shape that it makes more sense to me to just have it be black. Because I have this weird theory that if you incorporate more than one trendy thing at a time, so for example, both the wavy legs and also this bright pop of green, it's just like a little too much. It's a little try hard. Whereas this in the black, I feel like it really invokes the style of wrought iron, which is very common in outdoor tables and chairs and furniture. So the weird legs kind of feel more like an intentional design feature rather than just, let's make a funky table for the sake of making a funky table. You know, I don't know. Let me know if that's just me, but that's my theory. This is that nightstand that Paige got, and she got it in the white. I kind of like the yellow for this one just because of how bad it is. It's like so absurdly bad. I really like it in this photo in particular. I don't know that I could actually put this in my home because the yellow is just so bad, but also that's kind of what I love about it. So, I don't know. This is just a general, doesn't necessarily have to be this one, but any of the PAX wardrobe systems, and the same with their kitchen systems. Like, they have those systems down to a science, and they've got a good warranty on them. And I do like this one because it's just, when all of the doors are closed, it's just flat across the front. Some of them have, like, a little nook in the middle that's open, and I don't understand why anyone would do that. But yeah, anything that looks a little built-in like this and will be super, super functional is always a yes in my book. How much do I have left? Oh my god. Okay, we gotta speed run through these. This would be really cute as like a little accent chair, or if you want a pop of color in the dining room. I actually do really like this yellow color. This is one of maybe two occasions in which I feel like IKEA has done a really good job with their yellow color. It also comes in black and birch, which I'm not mad at this the birch either. Black feels a little been there, done that, seen that, whatever. Folding table. If you need a dining table that folds out of the way, I wouldn't be mad at this. The only thing is I can't quite tell. It kind of looks like this metal is painted silver rather than actually just being stainless steel or chrome, which I'm not obsessed with. But yeah, it folds up. It's a good size. And then I am a sucker for a good black and silver combo, so I could overlook the painted metal if you're like on a really tight budget. This is super cute. Again, either of these honestly are great, the red or the blue, if you need a pop of color in your kitchen. These are metal, they're not plastic. So these could also be outdoor chairs, and these are super affordable compared to any other dining chairs that are on the market because I feel like they're usually at least one if not $200 per chair, and these are 45. So I am not mad at that. An oak cabinet. This is that same Tonstad collection where the dark brown just looks really weird in pictures to me, and I don't understand why. It's pretty big. It's like a nice side cabinet thingy. It's great as like a sideboard, but if you don't have space for like the long sideboard, and if you have like a smaller wall to put it on, you can still have a nice styling moment on top of it. There's a ton of storage inside. I also love that it's fully closed storage. The sides aren't open, the doors aren't made out of glass. Like, it is just fully closed off storage, so you can put all your random crap in there because you need those kind of spaces, especially if you live in a small space. You need those spaces to just throw your random crap that's ugly because not everything that we have is aesthetic, and you need somewhere to put that shit. This one I had never seen before. It is faux leather and not real leather, so I would not recommend putting the top of this through much use on a regular basis. But if you need a little bit of a styling moment and you also need some seating for when guests come over, this is a really great option. I love how you can see all of this joinery. That's just a beautiful detail. And yeah, I would absolutely get this for my space. Ooh, yes. Okay. So I've had this idea in my head for years that I want to take the Evar cabinets and mount them on the wall and get like multiple of them. So it's like a giant custom sideboard, kind of like this. But these are kind of expensive. They're $130, which is $30 more than they were 5 years ago when I was looking at them. And so if you need three of those, that's already $400. That's the same price as this. And this is a black lacquer. Not to be like, ooh, shiny, but like it's so shiny. And like this would be such a great way to incorporate some different textures into your space, especially if you have a lot of things that are fabric and wood and otherwise very matte in texture. Again, this is just one of those things that feels so much more high end than it actually is. It also does have a high gloss white, which if you're trying to have it like blend into your wall a little bit more, this would work. But I feel like the high gloss black just looks so chic. And I will absolutely be putting this in a future space. This is just like a simple white dining chair if you want something a little bit more contemporary and easy to clean, especially if you have kids. This is just like a great little pop of white. I know we talk about pops of red and pops of, blue and greens and other colors like that. But sometimes just having a pop of like a bright, pure white can be so refreshing. These are part of the same collection. We've got a tablecloth and we've got a placemat, which, I mean, I don't know who's buying placemats in this economy, but I think these are just like a really simple, timeless, beautiful design that you can't go wrong with. If you want timeless in a different way, you've got this red buffalo check tablecloth, which is just super classic. Is this cotton? 80% cotton, 20% jute. So yeah, natural materials, super happy about that. And this is just like a great way to elevate your basic picnic table, especially if you're used to those plastic tablecloths that are like a one-time use, or if they've got like the felty backing on them and they work, but they're not the most pleasant to touch. This would be a great investment. We've got this weird colorful placemat, which again, I don't know who's buying placemats in this economy, but I appreciate the bold stripe and the weird color combination. So I'll take it. We've got these hand-blown glasses, which at first when I clicked on these, I thought that these little stickers on here were part of the design, but they're not. It just says handmade quality, and then you peel them off and use them as a glass, which that would have been a really cute little design feature if that was printed on. But I love these glasses. Again, simple, timeless, they don't scream IKEA, and they are hand-blown glass, which I would be willing to bet money that this is the cheapest set of hand-blown glasses available anywhere in the world right now. Again, some cups. I love this like simple green glass. It's very timeless. I was initially thinking the brown. As much as I love brown, it feels a little too trendy to me. And then there's just like the normal clear glass, but I feel like this green glass, it feels like when you find like a vintage glass Coke bottle at a thrift store or something. It's this type of green glass where it looks clear for the most part, but when you like view the edge of it like this, it looks green. And I don't know why that's so much more pleasant than just like a normal clear glass, but it is. And then I didn't know that IKEA had cast iron pans. And I really like the overall shape of this cast iron pan. And if we can get a good, I think that's the best top-down shot we've got. Oh no, here we go. That's fine. You know this is a relatively good quality cast iron pan because of how thin some of like this handle is and like how big that hole is and like how thin the metal is, because cast iron pans that are not made with good quality iron have to be made thicker so that they can not just like crack. So because of these details and how thin the iron is in these places, that tells me that it's a relatively good quality pan. I also just really love the detail of like how this handle tapers as it comes up to meet the pan. That's just like such a beautiful little detail that you don't find on most cast iron pans. So if I had a need for any more cast iron, I would absolutely buy this, although I do not because I have too many cast irons and not enough space. These next two, I've got a panel-ready fridge and a panel-ready dishwasher. So if you've got enough budget to do a whole kitchen renovation, but not like professionally, I would absolutely do these. And panel-ready just means that it hides in the cabinets like this. Like you put a cabinet front onto this panel, and I don't believe you have to use IKEA for this. I think you can just use any cabinet face that is designed custom for the dimensions that they'll give you. But yeah, same with the refrigerator. I love that there's drawers in the refrigerator. It's definitely a smaller fridge, but yeah, I love that there's drawers in there. And I also love that the freezer is on the bottom. But yeah, you can just hide a fridge in your cabinets. And this is a much more affordable way to do it than doing something custom with like a custom cabinet maker, which don't get me wrong, cabinet makers are incredibly skilled and so good at what they do, and what they do is absolutely worth the money. But if you don't have the money, you don't have the money. In the same vein, if you're doing a kitchen renovation, they do have a much cheaper range hood, but this one is like built into this cabinet and you can't see it. It looks so nice. And if you've got the money to splurge a little bit on something like this, I would definitely look into this, although apparently this has really bad ratings, so I would definitely look into that first. Broken knob, lots of broken knob stuff. Apparently these reviews are only from Canada. What about other countries? Yeah, no, broken knob. Okay, never mind, I take this one back. Maybe don't get this. If you're watching this right now, oh, shoot. I think they had a range that was $300, like on super, super clearance. It was originally like $1,500, and now it must be gone because I'm not seeing it. So that's unfortunate. So we're gonna take that one out. And then also we're gonna take out the range hood because I'm not gonna put that in the description. Oh my god, there's still so many left. I need to go so much faster and stop talking. Okay, this is a classic. I love a sphere. I love a glowing orb, and I don't think there's much more to say about that. I feel like everyone's been talking about this lamp recently. If you need it in a green, that's fine. Again, I really hate this yellow. I don't know what it is about IKEA and yellows. You would think they would do good yellows because yellow is literally one of their brand's colors, but I really, really do not like this yellow. Again, also with the colors, it feels a little bit too trendy and contemporary, but the white one, this feels like it would be perfect for on a shelf or on a surface that you want to style, or even as a bedside lamp. It's maybe a little small for that, but I think it's just like a cute classic lamp that you can't go wrong with. And it's also only $10. So I'll take it. And then, oh gosh, okay, this whole entire collection. I've shared this in my boob light replacement video, but yeah, any of these lamps, the NYMÅNE, I should not be trying to pronounce that. I especially like them in white, although this specific one I do also like in black. It feels kind of like that very first lamp, but a much smaller condensed version if you don't have the space. There's a little table lamp version, which is cute, black and white. And then the spotlight even. Again, this is the one that I put in the boob light replacement video. And then an up and down light. I feel like we don't see enough of these in design, so I would love to see more of these. Anyways, okay, this one, again, another part of their Stockholm 2025 collection. This is one where I feel like they got the yellow so perfect. It's this beautiful ochre color. It's the perfect amount of like kind of mustardy, kind of earthy. It could fit in so many different spaces. And as much as I do love the color when the lamp is off, because like that looks great, I also specifically love it when the lamp is on. It looks so good and so warm and so cozy and so inviting. This is definitely on my list of things to buy. And it's a pretty good size too. It's 14 inches, it says. Does it not have a picture of the dimensions? Measurements. 13 inches wide by 14 inches tall. Oh, and it's got an 8-foot cord instead of just a 6-foot cord. Most things only have 6-foot cords, so I appreciate the extra length because sometimes outlets are a little further than you want them to be, and you just like can't quite reach, and you need a whole entire extension cord just to go an extra couple feet. So I appreciate the extra 2 feet. Classic metal desk lamp. This one is not new by any means, but it is simple and timeless and you can't go wrong with it. Circle wall sconce. This is marketed more as a boob light, but honestly, I really love it as a wall sconce. They've got a couple different versions of this that are a little bit more expensive. But if you just want, again, a glowing circle on your wall, and obviously you need to like have a spot for a hardwired sconce, but this just looks so good, especially for $8. I can totally picture this either in like a living room on either side of the TV or in a bathroom on either side of the mirror. This would look so good and so high end, even though it's literally only $8. Again, another classic, this giant mirror. Super simple, super timeless. I like it in this aluminum frame better than the black. The black feels like a little too like contemporary minimalist 2010 2015s kind of vibe when everyone was like into those Tom Ford books. That's what the black is giving me. But I do really love the aluminum color. And then they've got this new mirror, again, with the Stockholm 2025 collection. At first I was confused because it says oak veneer, and I'm like, there's no oak on this, that's just metal. But here's the close-up. The oak is like an edge banding kind of around the edge of the mirror. Which is just like such a fun detail. And I love these little brass bits. I feel like IKEA's brass usually looks way too yellowy. Again, with IKEA and the yellow, I don't know what it is, but at least in pictures, this looks really good. And it's such a unique detail that I have never seen on any other mirror like this. Obviously, having like some sort of little metal clip is pretty common on mirrors, but taking this to a little bit more of an extreme and making it a design feature rather than just a way to hold the mirror on the wall, I really like it. If you're doing a bathroom makeover, this bathroom mirror, it feels like very good modern design. It definitely, unfortunately, is particle board and not real wood, but it's not the kind of thing that you're going to be touching every day. Like the part that you're touching is the mirror. Like I think you're intended to hook your fingers underneath where this lip of the mirror is to open the cabinet. So you're really not touching any of this fake wood. So I'm not mad at it. And I also do really love the glass shelves in here, and specifically the fact that they are the green glass that we saw with those like drinking glasses. Usually okay, so $30 is a lot of money for a box. That is expensive. And this is one of those boxes that is going to last you forever because it's metal. It would be nice if there was a lid option, but I understand why there isn't, because that would just make the whole thing so much more complicated and also so much more expensive to the point where no one would buy it. But yeah, simple, classic, looks kind of vintage, but without like leaning too heavily into the vintage aesthetic to the point where it's not believable and you're like, this is just something that's supposed to look vintage, if you know what I mean. But yeah, if you're looking for some investment boxes to like put in a Calyx unit that are not going to break, these are great for that. This is the cheapest thing on the list. I don't know the last time I've ever seen anything for 25 cents. Now, granted, this is the smallest organizer out of this collection, but all of these organizers that you see here are under $1. Which again, like, when is the last time I've been able to buy anything for under $1? That's just like unheard of in today's economy. So I do appreciate that. And what I specifically love about this design is that these corners are rounded. So that makes cleaning these a lot easier, because when you have organizers that are very squared off, it makes it really hard to like get in those corners to clean. But with these, that is not an issue. Again, with this Tonstad collection, like, something about this picture, just the wood just looks so weird and something feels off about it. But I do like the normal oak color. Maybe it looks better in person, I don't know. But this just feels like a beautiful, simple, timeless desk that will last you a long time. It feels like something that will last you throughout multiple design styles. It'll last you as you move from home to home, as long as you like have enough space for a desk. Like, if I were to buy a brand new desk right now, it would be this. Obviously, I would look for something vintage first, but this is a really beautiful, simple, timeless desk that, again, it really does not scream IKEA. And I love that there is a giant built-in drawer for all of your shit, because I've got too much shit on this desk right now. If you don't have enough space for that whole entire desk, this is an adjustable sit stand, like laptop stand, so like a mini desk. And here, I'm gonna play the video actually for you, because I feel like that really gets the point across. It's tall enough for standing height, although if you're a tall person, I would definitely recommend looking into what is the proper height for a standing desk for someone of your height, because this might not be super tall. You can pull it up next to a couch or a bed, and it's just super versatile and super good for small spaces. I am into this monitor stand or laptop stand, specifically because it's bentwood, and I feel like bentwood has been having a bit of a moment recently. And I actually, in this context, I really don't mind seeing the metal rivets in here. I think it's just like a neat little design feature that doesn't necessarily feel like a design feature in all of IKEA's furniture, but here I feel like it makes sense. And what I really love about this one in particular is that you can use it as is, right? You can use it just like this, or you can separate them if you've got a laptop and a normal monitor, and then you can also make it taller. So I love the adjustability, and I love the bentwood. I don't necessarily love the color. I would really love this in like kind of like a cherry color. I think that would be super cute. But again, because it is bentwood, and I think it should be, yeah, it's a birch veneer. So you could do a very light sand on here and you could stain it. So yeah, big fan. There is an adjustable kids desk, which I think is super neat. You can adjust it to be like really short if you've got little kids, or, you know, normal adult human height if you just like are an adult human and you want to use this desk. It's got these little spots where you can put like an extension cord, or if you've got tiny little kids, you could put like crayons or colored pencils or some sort of shit. And what I really love about this in particular is just like how blocky and squared off it is, because I feel like I've gotten kind of sick of things that are super rounded. Now, granted, if you have really clumsy kids who tend to bump their heads into things, these sharp corners are not going to be good for that. That is the one design flaw that I see in this. But if you've got older kids who aren't going to bump their head on that, I would say go for it. And then I don't know what it is about this desk, but I can totally see this being in some high-end architect's space, like a really neat office with giant windows and wood paneling and huge built-in bookshelves. I can see this, or at least something very similar to this, being in that kind of space. And then I found some office chairs. This one, I really don't love this red color. The green is fine. I don't know. This is honestly probably the one I would get. It's like super boring and basic, but it's not as ugly as a normal office chair, which I appreciate. This one, I was surprised to find out is real leather. I don't love it in this color because something about this color just feels really off and fake to me. Obviously it would like wear well over time and it would start to develop a bit of a patina, but honestly this black one just feels super classic and timeless. I definitely wish that this metal was not a dark painted gray and was chrome instead. But, you know, you can only ask for so much from IKEA. And then this one, I really like this because, again, this is a really good pop of red. Like, it's big enough without being a whole entire wall or a giant armoire, but it's also not tiny. And another pro of this one is that it's washable. This was made specifically for commercial spaces, so it was designed to be washed, and it's going to hold up really good. It might not be, like, the most ergonomic chair, But if you need a desk chair that adds a little pop of something, this would be great. Okay, this patio set. I love that this comes in a ton of different colors. The black is super classic, and so is the white. Not a big fan of the mint green, but that's just because mint green is like the only color of green I don't like. But yeah, this blue is super pretty. I would like it better if it was, you know, a cobalt blue like this rather than slightly more of a teal blue. I do feel like they got this yellow correct. And then there's red and orange. I kind of wish there was just like a red orange color and then like a yellow orange color rather than red and orange and yellow. But again, I don't work at IKEA. I'm not making these decisions, so this is a classic. This would go really well with this patio table that I have that I'm trying to sell because it's so huge and so heavy. It's traversine. It's really beautiful. I'll pop up a picture here. These would go so well with that table, but unfortunately I am selling it. This is another one of those things that feels so much more high end than it actually is. It does not scream IKEA to me. It just screams well designed, which I feel like is kind of rare to come by with IKEA. I like the proportions. I like the angles. And I feel like this would be really easy to do kind of like a bit of a reupholster DIY. I would love this with a bold stripe or a plaid or something like that. This outdoor sofa, there aren't a lot of pictures. I'm not a fan of this like weird grayish color. I wish it was just like a normal cane webbing color. But I really love like the wrought iron base of this. Something about the shape of that feels very classic and traditional to me in a way that I wouldn't expect from IKEA. And again, if you reupholster these cushions in a stripe or a plaid, I'm not mad at that. If you're looking for the classic tulip table that is all over Pinterest, because it's so simple and so versatile and so well designed and generally very timeless as far as modern things go, this is a great option. I don't necessarily love it styled in any of these spaces, but I have seen it styled very well. Okay, we've got 3 things left. Almost done. We've got this green cotton throw. I do believe it's 100% cotton. Yes, 100% cotton. I love the pattern on this. It's such a good classic pop of green. And again, I don't usually love a lot of IKEA's patterns, but this one just feels so simple and classic and timeless, but also in a way that is very in right now. I love that this pattern specifically, again, like I've said in previous videos, invokes the process of weaving because you can see that this design was created with the process of weaving in mind. This throw is my favorite throw at IKEA right now, and I will be getting this the next time I go to IKEA. Clearly, I am into cobalt blue at the moment, so I do love this cobalt blue, but honestly, I love all of these colors. I surprisingly like this yellow. It's definitely a little bit more mustardy and kind of like an ochre color. This gray turquoise, not mad at that. This would look fantastic next to a red frame or a red side table. Again, if you watch my last video, you'll know that I've been very into this like grayish sky blue next to a bright red. There's white if you want, you know, just a nice clean pop of white. And then if you want like bright color, there's this pink and orange one. Not quite my cup of tea, but I'm not mad at it. I love all of the variation in here. I love how there's more of a yellowy orange color and then more of like a reddish orange and then there's the pink. So if this is your vibe, not mad at it. But yeah, this blue is just so good. I just can't stop staring at it. Anyways, okay. Last thing. This is again from their Stockholm 2025 collection. It's an oak veneer sideboard. The main thing I love about this is that these legs are so chunky and it reminds me of this one sideboard from Hernest. Storage. This one. Obviously it doesn't have all of this like pretty detailing on the front, which I am obsessed with, but it has that same vibe with the legs, which I really love. I do wish it came in a darker color, but because it is a real oak veneer, you could do a light sand on it and stain it. And if I can, I will absolutely be putting this in a space sometime soon. Again, I love that it's closed storage so that you can just put a ton of stuff in there. Obviously, they've got this styled for a dining room, but it's got drawers and it's got these shelves and it's like a push to open thing so you don't have to have any like hardware sticking out. And yeah, I think this is just one of the most successful things that IKEA has right now. It feels simple and timeless enough that it can carry with you from home to home. It can carry with you as your design style changes. It feels like one of those pieces that is going to stay with you for a long time. So that's all I've got for today. Obviously, again, like I said in the beginning, I didn't go through every single thing that IKEA sells. There are so many more of their like smaller functional items that aren't meant to be very design forward. They're just meant to be functional. And there are also plenty of things that could be fine given the right context, but these were just the things that really stood out to me. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to tell the algorithm to show you my videos. If you want to support this channel, head over to patreon.com/medorakea. And if if you want to work with me one on one, go to medorakia.com. Bye.